Okay. Welcome everybody to another episode of Achieve 10X TV. My name is Jimmy Yin. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, and nutritionist. And, we're doing something special, during these, stressful times. We're interviewing local people who are helping our local community because that's what it's all about. One of my guests said, okay, welcome everybody to another episode of Achieve 10X TV. My name is Jimmy Yin. Of course, there's definitely technical difficulties. Sorry about that. So one of my guests actually says something that I love, and he says this is a time to bring unity within community. And so I'm very excited to have two special ladies. They have been doing something great for the Austin community, Jane Coe and Chelsea McCullough. So can both of y'all ladies briefly introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I can go first. My name is Jane Coe, and I run A Taste of Cocoa, which is an Austin-based food blog that I launched in 2010. And I primarily do restaurant coverage here in Austin, along with some travel.
My name is Chelsea McCullough. I'm the founder and publicist of Milk Collective. We're a boutique PR agency repping lifestyle and hospitality, as well as CPG companies. I've had a 10-year career in the PR industry, and that's included working with some of Austin's top chefs and restaurateurs, some homegrown local lifestyle companies. So thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's just super exciting. So y'all have been doing something that, I heard through the grapevine from a restaurant owner, and it's something called 100 for Hospitality, right? And so can one of y'all explain what is that? What is 100 for Hospitality?
I'll let you go, Chelsea.
So actually, this is kind of Jane's idea. She called me in March, I guess right after quarantine started around March 15th. And she was it felt like hundreds of questions and restaurants reaching out to her every day saying, help me, my restaurant is in crisis. I can't pay my employees. How am I gonna feed my family? And so she called me and she was just like, what can I do? And so it was really, Jane was the catalyst for us coming up with this idea together. And so I kind of just said, all right, well, what are our resources together? Obviously, Jane has this amazing platform and she can reach all these people. And then both of us have restaurant connections. So we kind of brought that together and we wanted to support the restaurants while also supporting the industry workers who had lost their jobs. So we came up with 100 for Hospitality, which was supporting local restaurants by feeding 100 industry workers per day. Originally we said 14 days, but we surpassed that goal.
Wow.
By miles, and we're able to do it for 6 weeks.
Sweet. That is awesome. And
so I want to mention is when I had called Chelsea, because I got what felt like hundreds of emails, probably like 200 emails from different restaurants, but it wasn't just restaurant owners that were reaching out to me like, hey, all of our dining rooms are closed right now. It was also people that work for restaurants, like waiters, waitresses, baristas, who were sending me messages on Instagram and saying, hey, can you please promote my coffee shop I work at? Can you please promote the restaurant I work at? Because I'm worried that if they close, then I won't have a job. Yeah. And as a blogger, I get requests all the time, but during a time like this, like, what am I supposed to do? I can't say no, right? You can't say no to that kind of request. And when I had called Chelsea, I think the most important thing to mention is she also has restaurant clients, right? And so she had said, oh my gosh, I've just gotten off the phone with my clients and they're all freaking out and they're all having the same questions. Like, what do we do now? And I think the important thing is we're two individuals that felt the need to step up and help the community, even though we didn't need to. Because I think when people have asked me, like, why did you do this? And I'm like, well, if we didn't do it, who would? Like, anyone could have done this. Like, that's the thing, is anyone could have done this. It wasn't like a groundbreaking idea. We didn't like cure anything. So when we launched 100 for Hospitality, we actually had a very small goal because our concern at the time is how are we going to raise money? So we had a small goal of, okay, we'll start with 5 restaurants. We just need to raise $5,000 to cover the CAC cost. And then if we don't raise that money, then we'll figure that out. And so as a whole, 100 for Hospitality has served 100 meals a day to service industry workers who were laid off by a restaurant in Austin affected by COVID-19 from March 30th all the way to May 8th, which is about 40 days. So we've served over 4,000 meals and re-injected $15,000 back into the local restaurant economy in Austin.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah, it's like you said.
I say that a couple of times now.
That is awesome. I mean, it's like you said, it's just two people, anybody can do it. And we're going to talk about that because there may be some other people that are thinking about it, but just don't know what to do. So talking about, raise money, well, let's talk about restaurants. What restaurants actually got involved in y'all's project?
We were so overwhelmed, I think, by the response across the board. Sponsors were reaching out. Bumble came on as a great sponsor, monetary sponsor. And then the local restaurants on board, Austin's Pizza, P. Terry's, Old Thousand, Peach Tortilla, Cilantro, 101 by Tea House. Jane, who else? It feels like at least 24 restaurants were on board.
Yeah, we had a lot. So we also had Burrow, Rosewood, Austin Daily Press, Miso Poke. I know I'm forgetting a couple of other restaurants.
We don't want to forget anyone.
Tiger
was so amazing to work with.
Easy Tiger has also gone beyond, not just for Hunter Hospitality, but they alone have baked, I think, 10,000 loaves or something for the community that they've given away. I think it's 10,000, maybe 100,000. I can't remember. There's like a zero in there somewhere. So yeah, we started off with a small group of restaurants. And I think as word spread, we started getting more and more inquiries from restaurants who were like, hey, how can we get involved? For example, like I'm good friends with the owner of Griselda's, and they were another one that also texted me. They're like, hey, how's it going? How can we help you? Can we be part of Hunter for Hospitality? But I think a lot of the success also came from, we didn't know if people wanted our help. I think that's also an interesting thing during the pandemic is people need help, but then there's people who aren't willing to want help, right? So the first day when we launched Hunter for Hospitality, we had maybe 50 people who signed up for meals, and these are people who were laid off, right? And then by the end of the program, we had over 800 people that had signed up for meals. And so that was just something that was very unexpected. And even looking at our list, it was quite shocking to see the number of restaurants that had done layoffs across the city. And of course, that's in everyone's right to do that as we're trying to, save dollars, but it was just shocking to see that.
Yeah. So how did, I wrote down a lot of questions from what you just said. So restaurants got involved, and one is by, sponsoring it as in monetary sponsoring. And then they also got involved. What I'm hearing is that they donated food also, right? And some did both. Or did all do?
We actually wanted to make sure our mission was twofold. We wanted to feed the industry workers who had been laid off, and we also wanted to make sure we were monetarily supporting these restaurants who were just trying to make it day by day. So we were able to provide the money that we raised through our GoFundMe was to cover the cost of the food. So it was about $5 per meal that we were able to pay these restaurants who were volunteering to help us.
Okay, nice. That makes sense. So how did people get the meals? I mean, it sounds like they went online to sign up and then they just went to the restaurant, or how did that work?
Jane and I spent days and hours coming up with the right style of operations that would make it easy for the restaurants, and also easy for the industry workers to pick up their meals, because we had a few problems or issues that came up. We said, okay, if 100 people per day are coming to these restaurants, and we were all kind of getting used to these social distancing guidelines, we don't want 100 people showing up at the restaurant at the same exact time and then making it a headache for these restaurants. So we thought, how to space out. So Jane had a brilliant idea to organize these meals through Calendly. And she organized mostly the internal organizing meals. So Jane, I'll let you talk about that.
I'm laughing because it was so hard. I would text Chelsea late at night and be like, oh my God, I'm doing reservations right now.
I did get several 3 a.m. texts.
I don't ever want to run reservations again. Reservations is a completely separate, humongous operations that I can see why restaurants see such a headache from it, because it is a nightmare to coordinate. And I've never had to coordinate reservations. So I used a tool that we use to schedule this call, which is Calendly. And I set up a different event every single day that was a 2-hour time window. So usually it was 5 to 7. It was then divided up into 15-minute segments with about 12 to 13 people for each slot. So then once reservations open, people could sign up. Once it hit the 13 spot limit, then that time window would close. So that would allow people to come at certain times in certain groups. So then the restaurants wouldn't be slammed. There wouldn't be any violation of social distancing, but we would also, more importantly, make it easier for our restaurant partners because we didn't want them to have 100 people show up all at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So that was fun to organize because there's people who cancel last minute, and I was just trying to, we paid for these meals. I want to make sure that people who need meals get a meal. So that was a big part of the event was the reservations, which was really a big part of it.
Yeah. Wow. So it was just the two of y'all, right? Just the two of y'all organizing and doing this?
Yeah, but I also want to say it was a community effort because we wouldn't have been able to do this if we didn't raise money. If we didn't raise our initial 5,000, if we didn't raise 10,000, if we didn't hit to 15,000, because without the money, we wouldn't have been able to pay these restaurants to provide meals every single day.
No.
And it was just very exciting to see us when we launched it on day 1 and day 2, to see people come to us and say, absolutely, like, let me support you. And I think a lot of that has to go from credibility. Chelsea has a really amazing reputation in the Austin restaurant scene, along with other people in other industries.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I have an audience that has followed me for restaurant recommendations for 8 years now. And I think it was a lot of good timing. Was my audience was also coming to me and saying, hey, Jane, I have money that I want to donate. Who should I donate to? I see, like, there's these restaurants doing GoFundMe's. There's like this organization, Central Texas Food Bank, needs like donations. Like, who should I donate to? And I think my audience relies on me and trusts me to point them in the right direction. And I think when I launched Hunt for Hospitality, people saw that and said, I trust you. I trust your restaurant recommendations. I know you're going to do good with my money. So we saw donation amounts of not just like $5, because we just said $5 equals 1 meal. So if we can donate $5, that means you're paying for one person's meal. We were seeing donation increments of $100 to $200. Like, these are big donation amounts.
Yeah. Nice. So it sounds like to me that, both of y'all came up with the idea and really just took action. You really didn't figure anything out first. You just decided you're going to do it, and you just did it. And I think that's a big, reason why y'all are successful at doing it, because that's one of the keys to success. And so what if other people that are in similar shoes, they're like, yeah, I've been wanting to help, and, I don't know where to start. So what are some things that they need to look out for?
I would say, just like you just said, Jimmy, take action, put your ideas on paper and start talking to your friends. I mean, Austin is such a supportive community. People want to help. And even starting by reaching out to the organizations like Jane just said, the Central Texas Food Bank. If you've read in the newspaper that the school districts are looking for meals, or just read and kind of research and put your ideas on paper, and then start reaching out and seeing how you can really take action. And even just the Central Texas Food Bank right now, they need volunteers, things like that. So I would just say read, research, and take action.
And Jane, you were mentioning prior to this, that you had tried to do it in Dallas, to help out in Dallas and Houston. And so what were some of the hurdles that you encountered?
Yeah, so I've launched several things during COVID-19, and Austin is where I live. It's my home, and obviously this is the most obvious choice. However, we did try to launch in Houston because there was another blogger who reached out to me and said, hey, I want to launch in for Houston. Can I carry the torch to my city? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Let's try this. And Not all things are a success. And again, like I kind of go back to, because like the question I keep being asked is like, why was this such a big success? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a great case study. And I think it was a combination of things. Is me and Chelsea hustled and we got this up. We were one of the first fundraisers in the city because dining rooms were closed on March 17th.
Yeah.
And I think I reached out to her maybe on the 20th, and we got this up, I think maybe, I don't know, on the 23rd or something. Like, wow. we talked about it one day, and the next day I was like, all right, I got the website built last night. What else do we need to do? Like, I bought the domain and everything. So I think it was a combination of things. As we were the first fundraiser, I think it was when people, like the pandemic was still early, you know, like people were freaking out, people were starting to get laid off, unemployment didn't kick in yet. I mean, these are all like facts. So I think when I try to do in other cities, like one, I don't have the reputation in Houston and Dallas. Like a Taste of Cocoa is not a brand name there. I don't have contacts there. So I don't know really any restaurants. So I think that's why it didn't pick up as quickly. And I'm not sure. I think there's something really special about Austin that my friends in other cities have told me, like, wow, like I see all these things that you're doing in your city and no one's doing anything in my market. Yeah. Like there's not that sense of community. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Austin is that we're a big city, but we're still small, where the community is very tight knit. Most of all the restaurant owners all know each other. And I think that's the most silver lining that I've seen during this pandemic is I see myself kind of as a connector. Is restaurant owners and even people who are just opening restaurants will ask me like, hey, do you know X, Y, and Z? And I try to connect restaurant owners. And I would say, in these last couple of years, like it's competitive to be in the restaurant space. And when I've tried to connect restaurant owners, I have like more senior restaurant owners that will tell me like, hey, I'm not really open for consulting. Like I really need to focus on my concept and I can't really help someone else because they're really like my competition, right? Yeah. But the most beautiful thing I've seen during this pandemic is I've seen chefs across the city like reach out to each other, promote each other's restaurants. Like there's so much collaboration. And it's like kind of like once this pandemic had happened, it's like competition doesn't matter because we're all in this together to survive. And I don't know if that happens in other cities, but I would say like that's the most silver lining I've seen during COVID is Austin has come together as a community because we're stronger together.
Very true. Nice. So thank you, ladies, for doing this. You know, definitely it was a great success. I heard about it through the grapevine, and many people, at least in my restaurant friends, they're telling me about it, and that's how I reached out to y'all. And so, let's go to personally. What do y'all do? I mean, I know both of y'all have mentioned, Jane, you have the blog, Chelsea, you have the marketing, I believe, right? And so, why don't y'all share a little bit about personally what y'all do?
Yeah. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, Milk Collective is a boutique public relations agency. So we specialize in high quality relationships with media and influencers. And that's how Jane and I have been working together for almost 10 years. So I specialize in influencer marketing in addition to my PR services. So when a restaurant or a hospitality brand hires me, I focus on my relationships with media to garner media and editorial coverage for them to represent their brands in the best way possible in the public arena in Austin. So I specialize in local brands, and born and raised in Austin. So I'm super passionate about supporting those brands.
You're a true Austinite.
True one, yes.
And I want to add on to that because during this pandemic, I think, again, like I just like to brag on Chelsea because it's so easy, is her clients include Old Thousand, Contigo Catering, Austin's Pizza, Mama Foods, and a couple of other big names here in Austin. And when I had thought about like, okay, what am I going to do? I didn't hesitate and I immediately called her, right? Because I just knew like, she's probably gonna be on board to do this. I know she's gonna hustle as hard as I am. I know we can run as fast as we can. And it was so amazing to see her clients also step up So I just want to brag about one of her clients, is Austin's Pizza. Is out of all the restaurants that we have like worked with, Austin Pizza immediately said, we don't need like money. We want to just help support. Can we donate days? And originally they're like, we'll do the first 2 days of the first week. Or it was really our only week because we were going to do 1 week. And I was like, wow, really? Like amazing. That's like a lot of pizza. So then they ended up doing, was it twice a week, Chelsea? I can't remember right now.
At first it was twice a week, and then it was once a week. And then they also added on their website so that when people ordered their pizza, they could just donate, between $1 and $10 to 100 for hospitality. So they were not only a great product and meal supporter, but they were also an amazing monetary supporter so that we could support other restaurants.
And how much money did they raise through their website?
They raised almost $3,500 for us.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And that was just a simple little button that they added to their website. Like when Chelsea told me that, she's like, hey, they want to add this button. I was like, wait, really? And I mean, we were lucky enough that we raised $15,000 aside from that money. So we actually ended up donating that money to Central Texas Food Bank. So we can provide meals for Texans here in the state. But I think that's a great example of a restaurant stepping up and saying, hey, we're doing okay. We feel like it's our opportunity to step up and help out the community. Like, what can we do? And Chelsea being able to take this program and say, hey, I'm doing Hunter for Hospitality with a local blogger. Do you guys want to get involved even more so? And being able to then ask their customers and say, hey, we're part of this program. Do you want to add on $1? Add on $10 to your pizza order. And who knew that would raise $3,500 alone?
Wow, very impressive. So Jane, you're a blogger. So what does that mean if someone doesn't know? I know most people may know what a blogger is, but maybe just let's just play devil's advocate that someone doesn't know what a blogger is.
So I create content for my website and my social media channels, but I'm obviously most active on Instagram. So on a normal day before COVID, you would see me going out maybe twice a day, maybe 5 times a week, out to restaurants, visiting restaurants, meeting the owners, learning about the food or the new restaurant they just started, shooting photos and posting that content onto my Instagram via Instagram stories and just on the feed and then on my blog. So I guess like my day-to-day job is being in the know and letting my audience know like what's new, where to eat, whether it's brunch, date night, happy hour, breakfast, whatever. And being able to be of that service here in Austin. So really just like where to eat and things to do.
Nice. So you know every restaurant then, since you've been doing it for 5 years.
I would say I have a lovely folder in my hard drive of 400 folders in there. And there's a folder on every single restaurant that I've been to.
Oh, nice. Well, what if is it okay if someone who's watching this and they decide, hey, I want to help out, maybe not be in the food, but just they want to do something for, our community right now. Is it okay for them to reach out to you and just get some of your, tidbits?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, awesome. So we'll make sure that we put your socials, where to contact both of y'all so that people can reach out. Any last words, any advice that y'all would give people that, are, during this pandemic, everything is stressful. Everything is so uncertain right now. In this, time of uncertainty, what would y'all recommend people do right now?
I would say, I think this is maybe like an economics 101 pointer, but out of disruption comes innovation. So don't wait if you have an amazing idea, don't wait for someone else to take it and then 6 months from now be like, that was my idea. Run with your ideas, be innovative, be creative. Austin is an incredible city for innovation. And take this opportunity if you do have downtime to be creative and spread your ideas.
Nice. Jane, what about you?
Yeah, so I have like so many thoughts. I think the biggest thing just from I've been spending this time being like reaching out to as many friends as I can on a weekly basis, which is something that I normally would never have the luxury of doing because I'm so heads down and working and visiting restaurants. But
Yeah.
now we have the luxury of video calls, so I can just, easily schedule time to like catch up with someone. And I feel like through the conversations I've had, majority of them are like discouraged. I think that's the sentiment right now is they're discouraged. They're just like, well, when is this going to end? I'm not getting work right now. I don't know when I'm going to get work. Like, how are you so motivated? Is the question I keep getting is like, how are you so motivated? And for me, like, I hope my motivation never runs out because it's very hard for me to get back on that bandwagon. But I think the thing is, from my knowledge is let's not move backward because things are not going to go back to normal. That's just the reality is let's figure out how to move forward, how to be better and how to like learn from this situation. And like Chelsea said, like this is a great opportunity to dig into your bag and think about different ideas that you've had in the past that you just never had any time to do. Like if you want to build a website and become a blogger, like do that. Like spend all the time researching that. If you want to build a company or build a fashion line or whatever, like this is such a great time that we all have this time and luxury at home right now to like do some research and spend time like building that, because any other day of the year we wouldn't have time to do that. And I think during this pandemic too, like even though there are so many brands that are shutting doors right now, like bigger and better things are being built, and they're going to come out stronger from this situation. So, and I think the thing I'll just end with is it's okay to be sad. I think that's the thing is it's okay to have sad days. Like we all have them. Like even for me as a social influencer, is people are like, wow, you're such a big ray of sunshine, you never get sad. And I'm like, no, I do. I just don't post about it because nobody wants to see that. But it's human. It's okay for us to have sad days, but let your body rest, but figure out like, okay, what am I gonna do next? Because I think it's super, super important to look forward.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have to say, both of y'all look super young. I won't ask your age, but y'all look like millennials. But it's very inspiring for both of y'all. It's one of the things, like Jane was saying, this is, a lot of people are, there's a lot of negativity going on and a lot of, people feeling down. And one of my mentors always told me, when you're feeling down and you can't get yourself out of the rut, the best thing to do is go out and help somebody else. Because when you go help someone else, you take your attention off, all the being down, and you're focused on helping someone else. And that's, what y'all have done, which is super impressive. Y'all went out and helped people you didn't know. You didn't have to do it. You're young, you're entrepreneur, you took action, you're go-getters, super inspiring. Definitely this interview has motivated me to even bust my ass even more. So I appreciate that, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I will post this onto Facebook, and I'll friend y'all and tag y'all, and if y'all can add whatever social media handles, so people can reach out to you. Okay.
Will do.
Well, ladies, this was awesome, and thank you for inspiring me, and hopefully you'll inspire a lot more, thousands, millions of people. And thank you for your time again.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.